Welcome, everybody. I want to introduce to you one of my primas, somebody that I haven't had the pleasure of talking to in a really, really long time, but our families are so close, and I'm excited to share her journey in the military with you. And so I will let her tell us a little bit more about herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Janay Tate now. We used to be formerly Janay Quintana. I was born and raised in San Luis, graduated from Centennial in 1991. And from there, I went to New Mexico Highlands University in Las Vegas, New Mexico. I thought I wanted to do the college thing the whole 4 years because I had a full ride. All the 4 years was paid for. But then it's like after going to school for 2 years, I felt like I was becoming burnt out on school. So at the time I was seeing this guy that he was supposed to have joined the Navy. So listening to him talk to the recruiter and everything, it's like he went through boot camp and then he couldn't deal with it, came back home. And so the recruiter started talking to me about, well, what are your thoughts on joining the Navy? And I was like, burnt out with school. So I said, well, it'll be definitely something different. I don't want to quit school and go back to San Luis. I'm not ready for that. So I said, sure, why not? I'll try something different. And then my boot camp was in Orlando, Florida at the time. So I was like, oh, yay, I get to go to Florida. Yeah.
Disney World.
Exactly. So I did my boot camp in Florida, and then my first duty station, I ended up staying in Florida. It was this place called Cecil Field, which is not too far from Jacksonville, Florida. So that was my first duty station, and I was there for 4 years, shore duty. And then after that, I was scheduled to rotate to sea duty. I decided to re-enlist, and I got orders to go to Sigonella, Italy. So that was pretty awesome. It was an amazing experience because I was like, oh, wow, I've never been out of the United States. And I get to go and I don't have to pay for nothing. It's like the military covers everything. So,
Awesome.
And then at the time I had my first daughter. So I was like kind of worried, like, what am I going to do about daycare? I don't have no family over there. And then come to find out they have a child development center over there that takes care of the little kids over there. So I was like, okay, well, definitely something different. I'll try this for a while.
And this is Italy?
In Italy, yeah, because it was like a lot of Americans on the base they were running it, so they would take care of all the little kids from the people that was military there that took their kids to Italy.
Uh-huh.
And she wasn't in there very long because she ended up getting injured. I don't think they were watching them very good. She ended up with a big old Camacho on her head, and I was like, oh no, like what happened? Nobody was obviously watching if she's like got this big old ball on her forehead and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. So my landlady and my landlord, they decided that they wanted to babysit her because they were like so in love with her. At the time she was 2 years old, and they spoiled her to death, let me tell you.
Oh.
Everywhere they went, like we became like family to them. Every family function and everything that they had us right there with them. So it was like really a nice experience. And then
You learned Italian, did you?
yes, and then Italian, it was easy for me to pick up because a lot of the words sound like Spanish.
Yes.
So the translation like became second nature, and I was able to understand and communicate with them really well. So that made an even better experience in Italy.
How cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then there was other commands that was stationed there that they would do like different deaths to different countries on the weekend. So I would just like sign a request sheet and I would go with them wherever they would go to different countries for the weekend, come back, and just I got to go to Greece, to Ireland, just while being stationed in Italy, and I didn't even have to pay for none of the flights or anything, so that was good.
All a part of the package.
Yep, all part of the package. And then it was time for me to rotate, get orders, came back to the States and ended up in Virginia. I was on shore duty. I was kind of disappointed because I was wanting to go back to Florida again, but I was like, okay, well, I'll try something new. And they wouldn't send me to the West Coast. I wanted to try California too, because even though I always lived in Colorado and family was in California, I never made it to California. So I always wanted to go there, but I never did. So did my couple of years in Virginia, then finally got orders to go back to Jacksonville, and I was so happy, and I was like, yes, maybe now I'll be able to stay and retire here in Florida.
Cool.
No, it was like after that tour, here I come back to Virginia, and it was like the rest of my years was here in Virginia, just transferring from one command to another, rotating from shore duty to sea duty, all on the East Coast. But overall, I think my favorite place, and the reason I say it's my favorite, was when I was in Jacksonville. And that was because the command really took care of me, my chain of command. Like, I got really good evals. I was able to advance pay grades faster there. I made Sailor of the Year.
Oh, wow.
I got a bunch of awards while I was in Jacksonville. And that's why I say that was my favorite place.
Well, I have a couple of questions. So, well, first of all, tell me about Sailor of the Year. That's awesome. Like, what does it take to get that title? That is so cool.
Well, you definitely have to have really good evals, which there's a points scale system, and it goes from a 1.0 to a 5.0. And if you have anywhere between a 4.0 and a 5.0 for like 5 consecutive evaluations, which those evaluations come like every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you maintain that high average, and also if you become like the work center supervisor or the leading supervisor, and you pick up like a lot of collateral duties, you know what that is?
No.
Okay, collateral duties is like different job assignments within your command. Like, you take the lead on a lot of stuff, and that goes placed into your evaluations, and it counts as like the really high points. So when you do really good like that, you get put into like you go in front of a board, and they ask you questions about your career and your job and stuff, and they also give you a certain amount of points for each question that you answer, and whoever has the highest average at the end of the board, you get Sailor of the Year.
Wow, so, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what are the criteria involved with those evaluations aside from the collateral duties?
Is like uniform inspections. You have to always pretty much be on point with your appearance, your grooming standards, not getting in trouble at work and when you're off work. And then again, of course, the knowledge of your job and how well you perform your job. It's like an overall rating pretty much of your entire life in and out of work.
Wow. So it's Navy, right?
Yes.
And so what duties as a sailor are there? What kind of different positions are there? I guess is what my question is.
Well, there's actually like over 300 positions in the Navy, but our primary role and function is basically like the protection of the oceans, the waters, and being able to protect the United States from outside entities that try to attack. So basically we're the police of the waters, of the oceans. But as far as jobs, there's like a lot of little jobs for everything, like of course the captain of the ships, and then the people that fix the aircraft when they break down, or they fix the ships whenever they break down. And then you have like all the administrative people that deal with the payroll of people, making sure the military get paid on time, and there's just a whole lot. It's a lot of different jobs, air and sea and surface. And
What positions did you get to do?
well, I went into aviation. So I started off from boot camp. My title was aviation administration. And with that, I dealt with the logbooks for the aircraft. It was basically like the record keeping whenever they went into their cycles to get repaired or different inspections that aircraft had to go through. I kept all the logbooks for all of that, and I had to make sure everything was tracked and inspections were done on time, so that way when the pilots flew, they wouldn't crash in midair, and then there would be all kinds of casualties. So that was my job throughout.
Cool, very cool. I guess the other question is how long were your how long were you stationed in Italy and your rotations through all these different places that you got to be at?
In Italy, I was stationed there for 2 years. At that time, it was considered shore duty, but they give you credit for sea duty since it was overseas. But normally, the rotations are every 4 years. So every 4 years, you rotate from sea duty to shore duty.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what was the longest time you spent on a ship, like out at sea?
Honestly, I pretty much had it made. Everybody said that they felt like I scammed through the system, but I think it boils down to who you know and if the detailer likes you and doesn't keep you at sea long. So physically being on a ship, I would say I was there 3 months. But normally you're supposed to be there, back in the day it was 6 months. Now it's up to 11 months that you have to be on a ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is that like to be on a ship for 3 months?
At first I didn't think I would get seasick because it's such a humongous aircraft carrier. Yeah. But I did. I got so sick. So it was like my experience, it was like I felt nauseated, had a headache. So I had to go to medical and get the pills for motion sickness and stuff. But then it was like after that, I was good. Like you don't even feel the motion of the ship or anything. It's like we have office spaces, we have cafeterias, we have, of course, our bathroom, showers, our berthing areas where we sleep. So
it's comfortable, like being at home.
Yeah, it is. It's just more the quarters, the offices and stuff are smaller, so it's like you're in close proximity with everyone versus if you were spread out here on shore duty where we have the bigger offices and stuff. But,
how cool.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I thought it was going to be worse. I was dreading it, but it wasn't that bad.
That's awesome. So what was your highest rank that you achieved? Because you retired from the Navy, correct?
Yes, I retired as a E6, a petty officer first class.
Okay. And what does that mean exactly?
Well, E6 is the highest rank for like the blue, they call them blue shirts before you go into khaki. Khaki is E7 and above is like chiefs. Yeah, but it's the highest. E1 through E6 is like all the what they would call the blue shirts, and I was the highest rank in that group right there.
Nice. Well, how many years were you in?
I was in for 20, and I retired. Yeah, I retired in 2014.
Nice.
And then from there, I ended up getting a job through the federal government, through civil service, doing the same thing that I was doing when I was in the military, except I don't deploy, I don't go on ships, I don't leave the area. It's like a permanent shore duty.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So what would you say has been like your best experience being in the Navy? Well,
definitely my favorite part is a guaranteed paycheck. We would get paid. we get paid twice a month. We would have the full ride for all our medical benefits, dental and vision. So that was definitely a big plus for me because it was like my comfortability and my not having to worry, am I going to get paid next month? It was never really there for the whole 20 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me about maybe an obstacle that you went through while you were in the military and how you overcame it.
I would say the obstacle would have been like when I first came in, being a female and a younger female and then lower ranking. The men, especially higher ranking men, they feel like they can intimidate you and they can make like a lot of sexual comments and like it's okay. So a lot of my first duty stations, I had a lot of problems with sexual harassment. So yeah, so I had to report a lot of men in the military for that, and it wasn't fun. So I would say that would been like my greatest obstacle that I had to overcome. But it's like as I grew older and then I climbed in rank, I wasn't as easily targeted, I guess you could say.
You had to show them you're from San Luis and you were tough.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That's cool. So I guess my last question is just, what kind of words of wisdom or inspiration, kind of carried you through that experience, and what would you pass on to somebody that wants to make a career out of the Navy?
I would say definitely give it your all and try to get places that you have never been to before, as far as like orders, experience as much as possible, travel as much as you can, learn as much as you can, and definitely go for them higher pay grades. Get that money. Don't be stagnant and just be like, oh, whatever, I'll just do the bare minimum. No, just go for it. Do your best. Give it your all.
Good. Did you have any words of wisdom from your childhood, like that you sort of carried with you as you were out there?
Well, I had a lot of there, I guess you can call them kind of like guidance counselors in a way. Mm-hmm. We also had that where we could discuss our career paths and like what kind of jobs to do and what locations to be stationed at in order to reach our goals of what we really wanted to do as far as our career in the military. So I did have a lot of good mentors as far as that is concerned. They, suggested that they had a lot of good ideas of career paths that I could take in order to reach my goals and better myself in the military.
That's awesome. Well, it's been awesome talking to you and getting to hear your experience. It sounds so cool.
Thank you. Yes, it was. I recommend if people want the military, that is definitely the way to go. I have no regrets about that decision.
Okay, that's great to hear. And I know we have in our family, we have a history of, family members in the military as well.
Yes.
Right? We had a cousin that was in Vietnam.
Yeah, right. My Uncle Nick, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but he passed away. I don't think he was even in like a year, maybe. He got drafted and immediately got sent to the Vietnam War and never made it back home.
Yeah. So we have a lot of history of people from the Valley and from back home in the military. And so I think all of us are very proud of that. And so I'm very proud of you for all the work that you've done and for your service and so everything that you've done for this country. So just appreciate it all. Well, thank you.
It was very nice seeing you again and talking to you. It's
same here.
Years.
I know, same here. So you take good care. And again, thank you for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it so much. And
oh, you're welcome. And you take care also.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody for watching. This has been a La Gente Legacy production and successful in the SLV military series. Stay tuned for more.